thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity tonight. I want to read a quote first. It kind of sets the theme of where I'm at and what I'm thinking as far as being sheriff. They tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Will it be next week? Will it be next year? Will it be when we are totally disarmed and a guard stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Sir, we are not weak if we make proper use of those means which the God of nature has planned in our power. Now, a little quiz. Who said that?
Patrick Henry.
Patrick Henry, that's right, sir. It's not a classroom. Thank you. Yes, Patrick Henry said that. Well, again, my name is Russell Bolton, and I am a write-in candidate. Strange as it may seem, I'm a write-in candidate, which means you have to write my name in the bottom line on the thing. I have to say that. I'm a former U.S. Marine, 8 years. I'm going to skip a whole lot of that since we have a whole lot of time tonight, but I worked for Jesse Helms' administration for 3 years after that. And I was a Republican delegate for 3 years. I've also am a trained EMT and was a trained combat EMT in the military also as a cross training. I'm a combat vet of Desert Storm. I have 5 combat engagements under my belt. I'm a husband of 20 years and I have 3 children. I have a very good marriage. I have 16 years in business. Owned and operated the business. I might add to that, too, that I have had a lot of men under me, too. I had 67 men in my platoon the last 2 years I was in the Marines that I was responsible for, which entailed a lot, even sometimes counseling with their wives, which wasn't very fun at all, because they had beefs with me about different things, but where were their husbands? But that was always interesting. So, and I know many sheriffs across the United States have to deal with things like that, too, sometimes. So. I would like to tell you that over 600 sheriffs around the United States have resigned, and chiefs of police together have resigned in the last 4 to 6 months. I let everybody know that because there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is the mandates coming down from the federal government now in this administration we have in the federal government. Very heavy-handed, and a lot of sheriffs just don't want to deal with it. And they really don't know how, some of them. But there are education programs now going on for sheriffs who are having a tough time with that. The sheriff can stop the DOE and sustainable development from, someone mentioned that a few minutes ago about the land. The sheriff can stop a lot of that. And he can work with the county commissioners and the prosecutor and the whole county government to do that too. But the sheriff has a lot of power to stop people's land from being entered and taken over without due process and without a really good reason for it. And I can't think of too many good reasons for that. You'll hear tonight from other sheriff's candidates about budgets, manpower, and things like that. Well, those things are always important and they're necessary. But we have X amount of dollars in this economy to do X amount of things. And that's all there is to it. And we have to learn to tighten our belts and do what's necessary. I do that at my home. Each one of you do that at your home. You live within your means. That's what we have to learn to do. And so that doesn't scare me at all. Because we just have to deal with it. Any sheriff's going to have to deal with that, and the county commissioners have to deal with it. When shall we be stronger? I want to answer that question now. That's why I read that to you. When we stop electing bureaucrats and career politicians and officers into offices. That's not going to work anymore. We've had that. The United States has done that now for 100 years. And that's not going to work. I also want to let you know that Sheriff Richard Mack will be in Chihuahua on the 30th. And I hope you all will come and hear what he has to say. He'll be speaking for me there on the 30th. I think it starts around 6, but they might start playing some music before that. I don't know. And I'd like for you to visit my website also. There's a lot more information on there, boltonforsheriff.com. You'll find a whole lot of information there. So is there any questions?
I've got one over here.
Yes, sir.
First of all, what business did you run for 16 years?
I am a 4th generation woodworker.
Okay.
And I have built windows, doors, cabinets, and things like that for about 16 years.
And the follow-up to that is, why didn't you file when the other candidates filed and decided to become a write-in?
Good question. I was asked after the fact. That's basically the bottom line. Several people called me and asked me to run. because they need my background. Yes, sir.
What kind of law enforcement experience do you have?
All my experience with that type of thing is military experience, but the training I took in the military is the same training they give police officers back in Camp Lejeune. They go through the same program back east that I went through. As far as the close quarters combat and the basic arrest maneuvers and things like that, that's the same program they go through.
Isn't there a difference between UCMJ and civilian law?
Sure there is. Yes, sir. Yes.
Military experience really doesn't really count that much.
Well, I've studied the law for about 18 years. I have a working knowledge of the law and the Constitution. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Have you taken an oath to protect and defend the Constitution?
Yes, I have.
Okay, if elected, would you consider yourself to be a constitutional sheriff?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
You got a little accent. You from South Carolina?
Well, pretty close, North Carolina.
All right.
A little farther north. Yes, sir.
You know Jesse Hill?
Yes, I do. Sure do. Yeah, he's a good man. He taught me a lot of the things I know about the government and about the United Nations and
He's
the
a
law.
good teacher, right?
Yes, sir. Very good. Yes, ma'am.
What's the authority for a sheriff in a county over the federal government coming in?
Well, a sheriff does not answer to the federal government, to the state government, or to the county government. He answers to the people of the county. He belongs to the people. Is that good?
Thank you.
Ma'am?
I was just going to ask, where do you currently live and how long have you lived there?
I've lived in this county getting close to 6 years, and I live in Summit Valley at about 3,400 feet. Yes, sir.
What steps would you take if a citizen called up sheriff's department and said, so-and-so DOA or whoever is trying to enter my land and I don't think they have a right to be here?
Well, the first thing you need to do is direct them to the sheriff's department. That's the first thing you need to do. And I hope, and normally, in most circumstances, they would cooperate with that. What a lot of sheriffs around the United States are doing right now is they're creating policy that requires any federal entity coming into the county to report to the sheriff's department first before they have any contact with the civilians at all. And I think that should be done here. That's very important. Yes, sir.
I've heard you say that you don't believe in democracy. Can you explain that?
Well, the United States was not created as a democracy. It was created as a republic. That's what the Constitution says. When we take our oath to the flag, well, what does that say? To the Republic of the United States.
I guess my question is, do you believe in a democratic form of government?
I believe in a republic form of government. That means that's a representatory government. The people are truly represented by the representatives, and they answer to the people. Our Constitution was set up that way, and the people, that's what the people expected, that they would have true representation. And I think for about the last 90 years, we have not had that.
Amen.
And I've studied that in depth for about 18 years. And I worked with Jesse Helms very hard on those things, and we studied that. And that's really what's happened. We elect officials into office now, and what happens, and it's really our fault, it's the people's fault. We elect people into office, and then we go back to our daily activities, and we forget about what they're doing. We've let them run rampant for years like that. And so we need to stop doing that.
Do you have any plans, if elected sheriff, for making your deputies accountable as prescribed by law to the citizens of this county?
They fall under the same scrutiny I do. They're responsible to the citizens. They'll be responsible to the sheriff. He's their boss. But they'll certainly be, they'll have to take, I would like it if every deputy took an oath to the citizenry. I really would, because that's their boss. They hold their paycheck.
Well, time's up anyway, so I'll move on. You'll have 3 more minutes.